evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Just give y'all a little something before we all go out. I know some of y'all out there partying. Gonna get some liquor in your damn system. Smoke, pop your damn pills, whatever it is. So
Don't do
give
that.
you something to think on while you having fun in your high and out doing what you do. But man, we wanted this is probably about a week late for this. Can y'all hear me all right? Because my internet connection has been crazy lately.
You're a little laggy, but we hear you.
Yeah, we're gonna try to work with it and try to get this shit. Cause yeah, man, they fucking up with the internet everywhere. From what I hear, it just seems like every damn where everybody's internet's getting up. So, and it's just been real bad past week. But yeah, we're about a week late. We're about a week late on this Candice Owens thing, man. We, of course, she weighed in on the death of George Floyd. She had her own choice words. Candice Owens, she's a, huge Trump supporter, conservative, Republican. So she had some, she had her own, so to say,
her own thought process.
Yeah, she had her own opinion on how she felt about the way George Floyd was being represented in the media. So let's get into it. This is from the Federalist. Never heard of it before, but this is it's online at thefederalist.com. It says, Candice Owens, George Floyd is not my martyr. The viral video that garnered 1.5 million views, conservative activists Candice Owens explains why she refuses to accept George Floyd as a martyr in the African American community. Let me get this shit shared real quick.
Wait, what? She's African American? I thought she became white.
You said she white. You on that Joe Biden?
That's what I thought she claimed. I think she claimed blackness.
She can claim whatever she want to claim, but y'all know how that goes. So yeah, she says, confession, George Floyd is neither a martyr or a hero. Let's keep going. In the 18-minute clip, Owens clearly condemns Officer Derek Chauvin's murder of Floyd, but also examines Floyd's criminal record and challenges the narrative that celebrates him as a hero. I am not going to accept the narrative that this is the best the Black community has to offer, she insists. Nobody thinks he should have died during this arrest, but what I find despicable is everybody is pretending this man lived a heroic lifestyle when he did it. Owens notes that Floyd was high on fentanyl and methamphetamine at the time of his death, according to the autopsy report, and goes on to cite his record, which includes jail sentences in 98, 2002, 2004, 2005, 2007. His 2007 arrest, she continues, was for participating in an armed home invasion against a pregnant African-American woman, where Floyd held a gun to the pregnant mother's stomach. Owens challenges the idea of lifting Floyd up as a hero, and they said that already. We are the only people that fight and scream and demand support and justice for the people in our community that are up to no good. We are being sold a lot of lies, and at the detriment of the Black and white community, and at the detriment to America as a whole. And she also added that a police officer is 18 and a half times more likely to be killed by a Black person than the other way around. So, yeah, that's pretty much the crux. That's pretty much the crux of her opinion. I have to look at the numbers because I know she's put out flawed numbers. I know they got a lot of flawed numbers when they talk about police brutality, deaths just in general. yeah, there's a lot of shit that goes on in the not necessarily black community, but in the hood, as we all know. But we all know that stems from somewhere, and that's not to take away our personal responsibility as men and women ourselves, but still, it comes from somewhere. Just like I said, the same way a racist is made, or in any other ways. Like I said, the people blindly follow religion. So, and people who are in high positions understand the mental aspect of a human being. So, before I get into it, man, what do y'all think? What do y'all think about Candice Owens and her condemnation of George Floyd as a hero? He says he's a martyr. What do y'all think about her views on this?
Uh, Honestly, man, he wasn't really a martyr until they made him a martyr. Be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is at home right now at quarantine, and so everybody's not doing anything to have their minds taken away from it. So of course this is going to hit everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's going to hit everybody different because basketball is not around, football is not around, baseball is not around to have everybody distracted. So everybody's going to be able to see this and actually feel this. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not going to be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Let me just turn the channels. LeBron's playing right now. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna have that distraction, and that's just my thought process. And then like my whole thing is why do people always run to their arrest records or the negative first? That's the first thing you run to is the negative. It's just like, but when it's one of your people, we don't want to show none of the negative. We don't want to show the positive. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a black person, we always run to the negative first before we even eventually even touch the positive. And it's barely the positive. So it's just like
if Trump does anything, if Trump does anything, and we already know, I don't fend for any side, both sides. If anything, the Democrats are much more evil than the Republican side, but they're all trash in my eye. But you're right, man. Say Trump does something, man. You see, you're not gonna hear nothing. They're gonna find any way to try to spin it. Yeah.
Go ahead, I see you had something.
Yeah.
Man, of course I have to listen. That's my job, to be an objective listener. So I listen to the 18-minute soliloquy of rhetoric. I mean, she made some valid points, in regards to our responsibility to our communities. I think that point was I can validate that, and understand that part of it. I still am having trouble just because, like you, Randy, I never looked at George Floyd as a martyr, a hero, like none of that. He was a brother that lost his life at the hand of a police officer. I mean, I didn't give him any other label besides that. I know that there's this mantra that, Black people ignore Black crimes, against each other. I'm like, that's not true. This really, and this is just my opinion, this really only became what it was because literally you had more murder recorded on live TV, basically, for lack of better words. This was a recorded murder, in broad daylight. It took months before we really began to unravel the facts about Ahmaud Arbery. Now, it was out there in the media, but it didn't get, the national attention it got until way later. And so I just feel like her comments were misguided. I think that's the best word to use. I feel like her comments were misguided. I was taken back by her ability to continue to pound that problem.
Say it again. You're breaking up. Lauren, say it again. You're breaking up. Lauren, you're choppy. Okay, Lauren, you're choppy.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but Lauren, you're choppy. We can't hear you. You froze.
Lauren freeze out too, man. They trying to get all of us, man. They sabotaging us. Illuminati.
Candice Owens. All right, go ahead.
What was Lauren saying, man? Before
all right, there
back up. You good, Lauren?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. I don't know where I left off, but I guess the biggest point I wanted to make was, she wants to point out all the problems, but didn't want to offer a solution. That was the biggest thing. I think that bothered me is that she just kept pointing to a problem that, is well known, or problems. Let me put it like that are well known. But she didn't really offer a solution to those problems, and so. I just really think that our comments were really, really misguided. It really, really falls into a narrative of our inability or perceived inability as Black people to be able to come together and have, conversations of such without, tearing each other apart, So, there's a different approach to what she was trying to say. I really do think that she purposefully illuminated his criminal past. Like that, you continue to say that you believe that Derek Chauvin should get his justification, but yet you wanted to illuminate everything that was bad about George Floyd. And I was like, what? Like, where are you going with this? And I know she made the comment that we're the only race that caters to basically the bottom denominator. I can't really speak to that because I'm Black. Like, I can't speak to the Latino community and how they respond to it, or the white community or any other community. I really don't know. So I don't know how she knows.
Yeah. Hey, and even if you go off of that, because she's probably speaking on, you know what I'm saying, the street niggas, the rappers, and probably what she gonna say, the drug dealers or whatnot, but they ain't no different. They ain't no different than the politician or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no different than the politician. Mm-hmm. But there is, and then on top of that, when you sit up there and you got a monopoly on the media, and you sit up there and you do what you do to a race of people, and then you sit up there and elevate that as this is that's whether it's the rapper or the ball player, and that's all kids see. You know what I'm saying? There's different things like that. It's not to say that it's just that cut and dry and we just elevate, but that's what she's gonna say. And like they're not gonna bring up the, you know what I'm saying, solutions or what led to that, you know what I'm saying, different shit like that.
Well, and another thing she brought up that I wanted to just really point out, because I can't speak to it one way or another, but she made a point that only 9 Black men, I believe she even used the term men, have been killed at the hands of law enforcement in the last year. Yes. And what I have to, this is my rebuttal to that, is those are the only recorded ones. Exactly. Those are the only recorded ones. I can guarantee you that I could probably easily double that number. Easily. If all murders, if every single murder of a Black man at the hands of the police was actually recorded, I believe that I believe that there's lots of murders in general, and so this would still fall into a general population discussion, but not all murders are recorded, and that's just the truth, you know. So for her to try to say, well, you know, only 9 black men have died. Number one, if one dies, there has to be value in that life. Exactly. Like, so you don't get to sit here and just say it's just 9 people. You don't get to sit here and do that as a so-called responsible black member of society. That's just how she wants to tout herself. Like, you know, she's the one woke and we all sleep. You know, and so if one black person dies at the hands of the police, there should be outrage.
If anybody dies at the hands of the police, it should be outrage.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's injustice anywhere. Injustice anywhere is injustice for all.
My man. Say it again for the people in the back.
Injustice anywhere is injustice for all. And if you see, it's just like you look around and you see crazy stuff going around in the world, and you sit up there and you say, well, it hadn't hit America. You feel safe or whatnot. You see different things like communism. And like I said, there's limited things you can do. But like I said, to sit up there and you feel safe where you're at, it can very easily be on your doorstep. That easy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And think about this for a second. Stew on this for just a hot second. So she made the point that black people are the only race that caters to the lower common denominator, right?
Yeah.
That don't mean that's a problem. That does not mean that that's a problem because nobody else cries for their own culture or people or whatever. That doesn't make it a problem that we do that. That does not make it a problem. So for her to say that, I'm like, okay, so we we try to pull up the bottom of the barrel, you know what I'm saying, to pull up with the rest of us. What's wrong with that?
There's some too, because you know, like I said, there's a lot of times that you know that's a whole discussion with itself. I know what she's saying when she says that, and we tend to, you know what I'm saying, shun, you know, education and different things like that. But like I said, that comes with the media and the shit that's been shown. You know what I'm saying? We haven't controlled the media or nothing like that, and yeah, like I said, there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with what we do, but man, influence is the strongest thing in the world.
And that's even flawed, you know what I'm saying? Because when you talk about, you know, we don't want to be educated and things like that. Well, when it's a known fact, when it's a known fact that education in urban areas, which are primarily populated with black people, is substandard to what you get everywhere else. I mean, you can't knock somebody for saying, I'm gonna go ahead and go, you know, get it from the streets or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, culturally, we got a lot of work to do. You know what I'm saying? But like it really makes me sick. And I mean that in every sense of the word. It makes me sick when people like Candice Owens are irresponsible to their responsibility to the black community. You know what I'm saying?
She ain't got no responsibility to the black community. She got a responsibility to fulfill whatever point that she has to. A lot of times, I think like, and this is just a, you know, I don't know if it's true, but man, it looks to me as if she's being the voice for, you know, white people don't want to come out and say it themselves. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to flat out say it themselves. So it always works. You know what I'm saying? You can find a black person. She's not the only one. You got guys like
she's the mouthpiece.
Officer Brandon Tatum. You know, it's more digestible. Like, yeah, okay, she can say, you know, and I'm not saying all white people, but y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. And they can go out there and say those talking points. They can go out there and put out those talking points because I mean, shit, you look at what was alarming was you look in the comment section and you just seeing the amount of people like, yeah, they going with it. It wasn't just white people, but it was the majority white folks. So I got it for y'all. I got it for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of white folks, a lot of that we got followers. Hey, just like you see, if we give it to the black folks, hey, anybody can get it. White folks, black folks, we're going to be critical of whatever. We all in this together, and we're going to be critical of every aspect and every categorization and different shit we see that we, you know what I'm saying, that we see. So, yeah, and that's exactly what the fuck it was, man. Exactly what the fuck it was. You know, they felt like it was comfortable and, yeah, somebody speaking on our behalf and they follow behind that, you know, kicking the door and follow the leader. It's just crazy, man. It's like I talked about, man. It was the exact thing what I talked about when the Tatiana Jefferson was when Tatiana Jefferson was murdered. When shit like this happens, when you start dealing with you know, talking about people, talking about black on black crime and talking about crime that happens in the hood, you know, it'd be different if it was, and like I said, there's only one, from what I know and what I believe, there's only one race. And then we have our categorizations, you know, there's different, we have differences in you know, our DNA and different things like that. But I mean, you still gonna call a cat and a dog, no matter what, you know what I'm saying? One may be a Chihuahua, one may be a pit bull. We're all human, you know what I'm saying? We all human, you know, the human race or whatnot. But, and so, you know, there's that. It's just, it's silly when you want to talk about black on black crime, you talk about it if you want to talk about a black person killed a white person killed a black, or so on and so forth. But we're talking about dealing with people who are in paid positions who typically have immunity, you know, who are put in a position where they have a level of immunity, you know what I'm saying, to go out and carry out, do whatever they need to do, whether it's military, police, politicians. They have more leeway, room to work the system and do what they got to do, you know what I'm saying, to make the gears work how they see fit. So that's not the same thing when you're talking about people, whether it's black, white, red, blue, whatever the hell it is. When you're talking about this, when the police kills a person, you have to examine the facts. And what I talked about in the Tatiana Jefferson cases, you saw it. I bring up that one specifically because you saw it in bulk, where they were talking about how she was a college educated and different things like that, and she was just a mother and different things like that, because people understood how criminal past and different things are brought up in past case when they're talking about, you know, they could be talking about Stephon Clark and things like that. The shit doesn't matter. I just want people to really understand that. And I've said, if you've watched this before, y'all heard me say it 1,000 times. Whether she was a great Samaritan, and just an absolute, or he or she, and was an absolute angel, or if they killed 100 people. It doesn't matter. The police have a job to do, and they're supposed to handle it. They're supposed to have a protocol that they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to do their job the right way. If they're going off script and start doing their own thing, and just like you said, putting knee on your neck and things like that, everything else gets thrown out the window, and all attention needs to be thrown on that officer and that act that he did. But for reason why, you may ask, because like I said, there are all type of reasons. People are rapists, murderers, embezzlers, different things like that. This is why that a police, because, you know, a lot of people would like to see if somebody murders somebody they know or love, the police to kill them, or if somebody, you know, if a rapist raped one of their family members, the police to kill them. But this is why, because if you give the police the leeway in that to do what they do just because of how you feel or what that person did, they can always, when we talk about circumventing, they can circumvent the narrative, and they can create their own narrative for somebody who didn't even do that. They can create their own narrative and use that for a reason to break their oath. basically break their oath and do their job the wrong way. And they've done that. They've done that plenty of times. They've done that plenty of times. Just like I say, every time they want to shut down a militia group that's actually fighting for American human rights, and those militia groups are usually full of white folks, all they got to do is say it was a white supremacist group. A white supremacist group, or if they or they can say it's a cult. And they control the media, once again, controlling the media. So they can control the narrative. So what people will do is sit at home and say, well, yeah, go ahead and get them at all costs. That's what they did at Waco. It was a over 50-day siege on Waco, and all they did was talk about how they were abusing the kids and all type of different stuff, doing all type of different stuff within that code. And the American people sat back and watched, like, go ahead, do what y'all do. Not even knowing the facts, but we're watching the police force and military force sit up there and break their rights, break these people's human rights, because we feel like it was justified. When come to find out, when you actually look into it, man, they were all wrong. It was to the point where the FBI had to cut their ties with the CIA. They had no proof on these guys, on David Koresh and the Branch Davidians and different things like that. So that's just a example right there, how they'll use that. So when you're talking about criminal history, whether it's, I don't care if it's on the good or bad side, it has nothing to do with within that moment and what people rose to. Dave Chappelle said it perfectly. I watched his 846 today. Perfect. He laid it out perfect. He said, we didn't make him a martyr. He said, y'all did. Y'all the ones that, you know what I'm saying, police. They're the ones that decided to do that while the camera was rolling and have their knee on the neck. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want that, you simply do the right damn thing and honor, and like I said, do your job. It's your job. So, man, I don't care if, like I said, I don't care if he was a saint or a murderer or whatnot. His criminal history has nothing to do with that moment. Also, it's better because what do we talk about? What is one thing that usually happens with serial killers? You know, those crazy guys? We get a lot of them that do these things, and I'm not saying the officer did that for this reason, but they do these things because they want a name, right? They want their name. They were nobody, so they want their names to live on forever. So what was one method that people started bringing up? Well, let's stop saying their names. Let's stop saying their names and give them the spotlight and prosecute them and throw them under the jail, but let's forget about them so they won't feel, it won't set the tone for it, having them think like, you know, the next serial killer or whatnot, thinking, well, I'm gonna give me a name just like Charles Manson or somebody. So this is why you should say the name of the victim. Say the name of the victim, because the person who did the crime will always be connected, but the victim should be remembered and what he went through. We were talking about Derek Chauvin, and fuck Derek Chauvin. Don't need to know his name. They need to know George Floyd. It's not about being a martyr or trying to be lifted up as a hero. I haven't heard nobody say anything like that. The outrage is toward the police, man, and that's the only thing it should be focused on. You got anything?
I just to kind of, I want to add a layer to what you just said, that the outrage is against the police. Really, the outrage is against the system that protects bad cops. Because think about it like this, you know what I'm saying? And this is a little bit off of kind of the subject, but if the right things had been done to Derek Chauvin, I don't know the right
chauffeur, fuck him.
We'll just call him Dave. If the right system had been in place, George Floyd still be high right now. You know what I'm saying? With the with the amphetamines in his system because he would have already been removed from the force. So if you want to talk about somebody's history, you know what I'm saying, in a way that is antagonistic, you might she would have do him like you did George Floyd, Candice. Do Derek like you did George. You know what I'm saying? Because he had quite a track record.
He was like 46 or something like that.
So yeah. So if you're going to do that, do it all the way.
Point.
You know what I'm saying? Don't stand behind the cloak of due justice for him, you know, as an officer, because that's essentially what you did, is you stood behind the cloak of due process for the officer, but you wanted to bash the victim. You know, so you know that's not, that is irresponsible. I'm gonna keep it within the framework of that word. That was irresponsible of her to come forward, understanding that she has an audience.
Wait.
I
gotta ask you again. I gotta ask you, was it irresponsible? Because like I said, I think that's her responsibility for what her job is to do, is to have those talking points. So I think, like I said, and this is just a guess, a theory, but I think that's her damn job to go out there and do shit like that so she can get her a pat on the back. You know,
but you can you could say she was doing her job, you know, and she
is that irresponsible as a human being? Yeah.
Right. She does it well. She does it well, you know, but when you're talking about you know, just the human being, you know what I'm saying, it was very irresponsible. It's funny because me and my brother was just talking about this earlier, you know, because he was like, how do we even fix this? And, you know, he was like, how do you not bring race into the equation? And I said, you know, you have white people, you have black people, you have Hispanics, you have Asians, you have indigenous people, like you have all these different subsets of races, but they all fall under the category of a human being. So you have to objectively and logically make all of your rules based off of that. You have to objectively make all of your rules based off of that. Now you can have, you know, you can say, for instance, you know, we'll use your Chihuahua pit bull. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, you may have to, when you take your pit bull to the vet, they may have a different set of things that will help that pit bull that wouldn't help the Chihuahua, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother overarching theme. Like, that has nothing to do with the fact that they're both dogs.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, when we as black people, when we want to point the finger at race and racism, you're actually providing ammunition.
Yeah.
You're providing ammunition for them to continue to divide. And so, you know, and
they start bringing race. Yeah. Then they start bringing race up. Yep.
Yeah, it's super funny. Me and my wife was talking about politics today, and we was having a spirited debate because I'm all confused about politics these days. But we were having a spirited debate, and she got so passionate, and she hit me with the Joe Biden. She hit me with the Joe Biden. Now, I kid you not. She was like, you know, Trump is the devil, and this is what she said to me. This is what she said to me. She said, as a black man, I need you to be responsible. I froze.
Hey, did you show her that picture? I tagged you in with a bird. Show her that picture.
We talked about it. We talked about it after that. But this is what I said to her though, because she was like, she realized what she said. She realized what she said after she said it, And my reaction to it, she was like, "Oh shit, what just happened?"
Yeah.
And I said, and so she's like, "Man, say something. Like you ain't saying nothing. Like say something." And I said, "You know, this is the narrative that they want you to buy into. This right here." I said, "All I want you to do is look at me as a man. Like tell me to be responsible as a man. You know what I'm saying? Black, white, whatever. Because if I'm your husband and I'm a white dude, and you feel like I'm being irresponsible about something, or at least you feel that way, you know what I'm saying? What you gonna say? You know, as a white guy, I need you to be no."
Yeah.
I said, so don't do it to me because I'm not wired like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I understand and am very firm in understanding that I am a black man.
Yeah.
But I said, as a black man, they're afraid of me. As a man,
as a categorized black man.
Right, right. But I was like, as a man, you have to see me as just a man. And she said, "Wow, it didn't cross my mind." You know, and I was like, I respect your passion. I really, truly do. I respect your passion. I said, if I was Joe Biden right now, I'd be calling you to run for vice president. You know what I'm saying? But I said, I said until we are able to process things logically on the highest level, which is humanity, we are always going to continue to put people in subsets that make them targets.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it's like a white person saying, people used to be, people were surprised when I was in high school and I could actually dance. And I was like, and I have to say, you know what, you're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying?
That is a remarkable thing, right?
God, you have rhythm. Oh my God.
Do the 1, 2, 3 for scout. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty remarkable there.
Yeah. And so I said, you know what? That's why I choose not to even do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, if you can dance, bring your ass out to the dance floor. If you can't, stand on the wall and clap for everybody that's out on the dance floor.
Oh no, that's a remarkable thing. People gonna notice that. They gonna notice that shit, man. Put some seasoning in the food, man. You go, okay, like
you invited to the barbecue, baby.
Some shit right there, man. I don't know.
Am I lying though? I ain't lying though, am I? But yeah, like I said, I mean, if we can I guess we better circle back to what the hell we were talking about. But now I just think that, what Candice Owens is trying to say, and this is what she should say, is that we're not all the same. We're not. You tried to point out Ben Carson, and you talked about how great he was as a surgeon. But I'm like, you never once denounced the fact that he was a terrible leader of HUD. Like, never once did you say that. All you wanted to say was, oh, he was the first surgeon to separate two people with the shot. I'm like, be quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet. And that's what I said. She spent all this time basically trying to prove her point. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, nah, you can't tear down somebody to build yourself back up. Like that's the definition of a coward. Yeah. Where you got to tear somebody else down to build yourself up. That's what that is.
Yeah.
You're right. And she's in the same category as Mr. Woodlock. But I'm not gonna go there.
You trying to Uncle Timer?
Oh, she an uncle. Oh, she an aunt. She an Aunt Tom.
Auntie Thomasina.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, man. It's crazy. Yeah, man. It's like I said, man. You can't ignore black people.
What you saying?
You hear me?
You chop, yeah, I can hear you, but you was a little choppy.
Yeah, my shit's screwing up.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, we got you.
Money now.
Am I all good? This is crazy. Now, yeah, man, you can. I mean, like you said, you can't ignore, like I said, man, the history of what black people, not just black people, because and this is why they came up with those broad descriptions when you talk about white, black, because you got to break it down to actually black descendants of slaves, or even saying or ones that lived through Jim Crow era, and even past that, because a lot of people, when they just loop everybody as black, well, you got people still coming in as immigrants and coming in, to the country, so they haven't experienced the same pain here in America. But yeah, man, it just gets all, even when you talk about, I mean, shit, Hispanic, I mean, that's a culture. That's a cultural thing. Asian, that's nationality. So it's all, all the characterizations and different things that have been muddied up by, American history, especially, here, black people, man, we've lost our history. Our shit was burned. Most of our stuff was burned up in the Library of Congress. You know what I'm saying? Funny how they got a lot of that stuff back real quick. You know what I'm saying? Real quick. So we don't even have our history, understand where we really come from. So all we can really lean on is black. But we're all human beings, man. No matter what you are. There's a lot of police brutality's been going down in the hood. I can't speak for, in the poorer parts of white areas because I haven't really lived there. But y'all can, anybody any white person who comes from those spots, talk to us. Let us know what goes on. I do see.
I want to say this right quick, man, because there's this misconception that brutality is only physical.
Yeah.
There's a misconception that brutality is only physical. Do you know that, when you talk about abuse, that psychological and mental it has a lot more permanent, lasting effects than physical abuse? Do you even understand that? That's why when people are like, no, police brutality isn't real, it's psychological. It's not just physical. Yeah. It's psychological. It's mental. So understand that. While y'all sitting up here talking about, oh no, cops aren't beating up black people. Yeah. They're beating us. They're beating black people up. Yeah. Let's just keep it 100. When the police in a given community have no connection to the community, there's going to be high levels of abuse, high levels of brutality, just not always in a physical form.
That's a good point. That's definitely a good point. But yeah, man. So there it is, like I said, and I believe if you would ask me, I'm a betting man, and I believe a lot of people believe it too. Is what I'm saying? It's been disproportionate. Like black people been getting the short end of the stick for years, but even when we talk about these situations, you really can't dwell on that. You gotta deal with the system when dealing with that issue. When you're talking about what a police does and different things like that, there's plenty of evidence. Like I said, it happens to everyone. I've got multiple stories, multiple stories, and y'all seen me give it to you. Camera, you know what I'm saying? On camera, with the cameras rolling, murdered in cold blood, police beat the case. It's happening to white guys too. And it's happening to white guys. It's happening to everybody. People are getting their rights abused. So we just got to, to even deal with what we got going on as black people, we got to deal with it and cut it off at every level. Like I said, being proactive and making sure anybody getting their rights done, getting done wrong, is you got to cut it off. Even before a person gets killed or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, we got to start knowing our rights. I'm going to say this every show. Know your Bill of Rights. Talk amongst your people, your family or whatnot, and have a strong comprehension of what the Bill of Rights and what it's saying and why the Bill of Rights were put there. Yeah, it was made by some people who, had some pretty low morals, but when you test out what they put there, they did a pretty damn good job, if you ask me. They put
it was logical protection of self that worked for all people.
Yep. So have that conversation, and let's have an understanding. Let's look at each other as human beings. If also, even if you want to start bringing up, let's toy with the black on black crime thing. You want to start talking about that. Like I said, it even works for that when you talk about we're all human beings. We're all, we're all really one race as far as what we know. Until we get, learn something else, which will probably be in the afterlife. But from what we know and how we should move, we're all one race, and we should move like that. And so if you see the shit going down in the hood or whatnot, in these impoverished areas, and you see these high murder numbers, it's your responsibility also, whether you're a different skin color, whether you're a different tax bracket or whatever. It's your responsibility to get down to the bottom of that, just as well as it's the people within that neighborhood also. They're your brothers and sisters too. So, that you got to get down to the bottom of that and find out what's going on to the best of our abilities. Because like I said, it's not an easy solve. There's a lot of shit that has to be done, psychologically, but the work has to be started somewhere. So
the psychology works both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They got white people afraid of black people, and I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
For what? What you got to be afraid of me for?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I go to work the same as you do.
Yeah.
So
and like I said last episode, white folks, be honest, and black people need to start listening. The second that we hear something that we don't like, we tend to get offended and label everything as, oh, that's racist. Without, we can understand, we should be able to have the discernment where we know where somebody is being malicious within their comments, or when they're being truthful on how they feel. You feel like you have a fear of black people and different things like that, voice it and voice it why. At least do it here, because we know that this is what they say online now. They call stuff a safe space and all that. Well, this is the safe space. You know what I'm saying? Do that here. We have real discussions. You know what I'm saying? We have real discussions and different things like that. And like I said, when we real men right here, man, ain't none of us gonna get offended, man. We deal with trolls and everything. You see our comment section on YouTube. We don't got a lot of traction, but we got a comment section on the YouTube, and we get trolls, man. We don't get offended by the crazy stuff. We invite the trolls. Those are our children. So of course, a person voicing how they truly feel and different things like that, that's always welcome. We won't get offended. We want to know how you feel so we can come to a meeting, understanding each other. So understanding cultures or whatnot. That's the only way stuff is gonna get done. We can't be getting all defensive and emotional about different things. Gotta know the truth. Truth always hurts, but it's divisive, but it's the only way. So like I said, with these three brothers here, you see here, feel free to voice your opinion, and we'll definitely respond in a logical manner. You know what I mean? But man, y'all got any? Candice Owens. I hope that woman gets some help. I really do. I hope that woman finds Jesus. I don't subscribe to the theory of Jesus. The story has some good message to it, but y'all know what I mean.
You just people just need to understand that you don't have to tear somebody down to speak your truth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to tear somebody down to do that. Like, if you feel like black on black crime is being ignored in its community, then say that. Say that. Like, that's fine. I'll accept that comment, because there is merit to that. But when you try to say, like, basically what she said is, he didn't deserve to die, but he did deserve to die. Like, like
compliments.
Yeah, like he was that low life of a guy that, he didn't deserve to die, but it's okay because he wasn't a good citizen anyway. Essentially what she said. So, I mean, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, so let who is without fault. I'm not gonna say sin because I don't do that, you know what I'm saying? But let us he or she who is without fault cast the first stone. So you might as well keep your rocks in your pocket. Keep your rocks in your pocket.
Yep. Everybody live in a glass house.
Yeah, so that's my only thing. I just feel like, and obviously there's an agenda there. Otherwise she wouldn't be doing what she's doing. But she's gonna have to deal with herself in her own time. And I think that, one day she may cringe. One day she may cringe, and it may be she may come to a realization that, in some way she was wrong, and I'm not here to, be the judge and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to do that. But we all can learn from each other, and I think she's got a lot of opportunity to, just listen, really, just listen. Don't make it about your agenda. If you're really trying to help people and help somebody, learn to listen. Sometimes they'll tell you, exactly how they need help if you shut the hell up and listen and quit bashing them. And I think that she could stand to take a page out of that book and just listen. You know what I'm saying? God, like my grandma used to say, God bless your heart, baby. God bless your heart.
Randy, you got anything before we slide out, man?
Yeah, man. I just want to something we haven't done in a minute, man. Just get something off my chest. Yo, so all my Black business entrepreneurs, all my people that's out there, you know what I'm saying, that's got like little side hustles going. Yo, man, I understand stuff is like hard right now, but yo, keep focused. You know what I'm saying? Don't stop. Continue to be great, man. Honestly, I have no problem with sharing anybody's stuff on my platforms. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta let me know ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? And most likely I will be taking a look at those things as well. You know what I'm saying? If it's music, I'll listen to it. If I'm not feeling your music, bro, I'll let you know before I share it. You know what I'm saying? So it's little things like that. I'll support all my people. You know what I'm saying? They're all my people. So I'm gonna support all my people. You know what I'm saying? Any way I can. You know what I'm saying? Any small way, big way, don't matter.
Shout out to Starbucks for helping Black business, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Starbucks, man. Y'all showed y'all face again. Yet again.
Shout out to Starbucks.
What they do?
They had to retract this statement, but they came out with a statement that they weren't going to allow anybody to have anything that supports Black lives.
Oh yeah, we was everybody. Are y'all down to do something tomorrow? Let me we talk about it.
I'll be free.
I was gonna add that because start about that. That was more of a, how they say at the job, bring anything that's religious, political, or anything like that, and it was taken as racist. We're gonna get into a lot tomorrow. Y'all stay tuned. Tomorrow's gonna be great. Take our time. We're gonna take our time and we're gonna go through different stories. I want y'all to take a look at what's going on here in America.
That's early 4th of July fireworks.
Yeah. It's
or maybe we'll give you a pre Juneteenth.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. And after the show tomorrow, I'll put a list on the Facebook page, and I'll give a list of all the links so everybody can view the different news stories for themselves. But it's gonna be interesting because y'all got a lot that y'all need to see and know what's going on right here in your country. It's wild. So y'all see. Just stay tuned. We'll be if everything goes right, we'll be here tomorrow night. If not, we'll see what is going on. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're gonna shine the light on a lot of stuff. But other than that, this is another episode of Word on the Ave.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Like you said, this is another episode of Word on the Ave, man, with your hosts Corey Gilmore, Lauren Jones, and your ignorant, eclectic, mad genius, Randy Anderson, man. What I need you guys to do in the link in the description below, man, that'll take you to the SoundCloud, YouTube, and all of our stuff, man. Just go ahead, hit that like, you know what I'm saying? Hit that subscribe. Tell a friend about the Word on That podcast, man. I appreciate each and every last one of you, man, for rocking with us, staying with us, you know what I'm saying? Giving us y'all thoughts, man. Continue to do that, bro. Like, honestly, it's 2020, you know what I'm saying? The first 6 months was, you know what I'm saying? It was a roller coaster, you know what I'm saying? But fuck it. We're gonna go straight up from here, and it's gonna be on our merit. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be on your merit. Whatever you're doing, it's gonna be on your merit. It's all up to you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we rocking with you, you rocking with us. That's all I gotta say, man. We out, man. Peace.